You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to our news. The headlines. ECZ announces 4 days of voter extension as it registered over 11,300 prisoners. Police arrest 4 pupils of Twin Palm Secondary School for killing a KABULONGA boy's pupil. Over 118,200 kwacha illegal salaries paid back to government by 2 former ministers. And in international news, Malawi minister approved extradition of Bushiris to South Africa. And in sports news, KK unveiled as new NKANA coach. For the details, join me shortly after this break.
Hello, have you heard about Msika? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, Msika is here. Advertise on Msika between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact
+260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467.
Msika, allowing your business to grow.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga. The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, has announced a 4-day voter registration exercise for both persons in lawful custody and ordinary members of the public. The extension will commence on Thursday, 17th December 2020 to Sunday, 20th December 2020. Meanwhile, ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Patrick Shindano has announced that the Commission has so far registered 6,478,052 voters and 11,359 prisoners. Mr. Shindano says the Commission is impressed with the figures captured so far against the targeted slightly over 8.4 million voters as corrected by the Zambia Statistics Agency. The Commission has since encouraged all eligible voters to take advantage of the extended period to get captured.
The Commission is pleased to announce that the extended voter registration will now commence on Thursday, 17th December 2020. In our last briefing, we mentioned that this would commence on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. But take note that this will commence on Thursday, 17th December 2020, for a period of 4 days, up to midnight on Sunday, 12th December 2020, in all the 116 districts throughout the country. So the exercise will conclude on midnight, on Sunday, 20th December 2020. So it's for 4 days. And this will be undertaken in all the 116 districts throughout the country. Let me also mention that in arriving at the 4-day extension, the Commission has taken into consideration the need to capture as many eligible voters as possible, while taking into consideration the electoral calendar towards the 12th August 2021 general election. I will share with you this calendar at the end of my briefing. During this voter registration extension, special attention will be given to all civic centers in the 116 districts and indeed registration centers which had high numbers of eligible voters. Registration of persons in lawful custody, which commenced on Wednesday, 9th December 2020, and concluded also on Saturday, 12th December 2020, has also been extended by 4 days. Out of the targeted number of 16,000 eligible persons in lawful custody, the Commission registered a total number of 11,359, representing 71% of all the eligible persons in lawful custody.
Solwezi Municipal Council Mayor Nicholas Mukumbi has announced that Solwezi is still far from attaining the 84,000 registered voters going by the 2016 voters register. Mr. Mukumbi explains that the district was hoping to register over 120,000 voters going into the 2021 general elections, but that it looks unlikely. The mayor says a number of eligible voters in the districts were left out when the exercise came to an end, but happy that the exercise has been extended. He further appeals that ECZ allocates 4 machines at the Civic Center registration center if more voters are to be captured and reach the projected number of voters. He explains that despite the Civic Center being a 24-hour registration center with long queues, only 1 machine has been allocated to it, hence proving a challenge in registering a number of voters in a single day. He was speaking during a full council meeting, which is the last for the year 2020.
This is it. Undertook voter registration from the 9th of November 2020, and the exercise came to an end on 12th December 2020. Sadly for Solwezi, many of our people have been left out. The population is very huge. If you remember this very well, 2016 voters roll, we had 84,000 plus registered voters. I don't think we've attained that. The projection was that we'll go to about 100 plus, about 120. With the extension, which we highly commend, ECZ pronouncement, that we may begin re-registration from Wednesday. We hope that many of our people, through all of us here, Council of Elders in Saka, we must go and encourage them to register. We commend ECZ, and we only hope that through the TC, the Civic Center, which is open 24 hours, must not have 1 machine. We must try through TC, discuss with our provincial electoral officer, PLGO, to ensure that places like this one, which lasts 24, must have not less than 3 machines. I think 1 machine is not enough for people to register 24/7.
The Ministry of General Education has postponed the date of opening of schools for Term 1 2021 from the 4th of January 2021 to the 18th of January 2021. Ministry of General Education Permanent Secretary Jobix Kalumba explains that the extension is due to pressure experienced during the 2020 third calendar. Mr. Kalumba says this extension is meant to allow teachers to apply themselves fully to the task of teaching and learning when schools open for the first term next year. The Permanent Secretary says his ministry has realized that the 2020 third term has had a number of education pressures due to COVID-19. He says the preceding holiday also has a number of activities to do with examination administration and management. Mr. Kalumba says in order to effectively manage these processes and procedures, it is important that more time is allocated to effectively complete these tasks before schools open for Term 1 next year. And moving on in the news, government has announced that it intends to put up an €8 million water and sanitation project in Chipata district in a bid to improve water supply and sanitation in the city. Minister of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection, Jonas Chanda, says the project is expected to benefit over 280,000 people in the district. And Paramount Chief Mpezeni has commended government for its efforts to ensure that people have access to clean and safe drinking water. More in this report.
In a quest to ensure that water challenges are tabled in the country, government has announced an 8 million euros water and sanitation projects in Chipata district of Eastern Province. Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection Minister Jonas Chanda, who is in the province to inspect water projects, says Chipata needs a modern water treatment plant and a modern sewer system owing to the growing population in the district.
But I want to announce, Your Royal Highness, that His Excellency President Edgar Chagwalungu, with support from other cooperating partners, will be bringing a big project to Chipata, actually to Eastern Province. It's called the Urban Water Supply and Sanitation Project. It will cost about 8 million euros. The reason why that big project is coming is that Chipata is a city. It's a very, very big city, and the population is increasing. So we hope that that project will benefit about 280,000 people. Just the project that I'm talking about.
The minister has also reviewed another 7 million euros project in which Chipata will be a beneficiary.
We also have another project, Your Royal Highness, Nkosiama Kosi, which is costing us about 7 million euros. And Eastern Province is one of the beneficiaries. With this project, every district in Eastern Province will get 10 new boreholes and will rehabilitate 20 new boreholes. So about 30 boreholes per district in Eastern Province. So that is in addition to the other big project that I've talked about.
And His Royal Highness Paramount Chief Mpezeni is excited to learn of the development, considering that the people and animals in the area have been sharing the same water source for a long time.
onyamula manzi msikopo kuchukana okuhanda umagula kuli manzi kuli garden kalikati tozokumwa bina manzi nomba masikuwa nombale mwatikushika lero tambako kumwa manzi akuboho kwa manzi wala ku garden lero mtumwe uchakwati olema mkamwa so apati ngakondo tia editu vitukuva nubusebenza nditu mwatipasa nditu kula ichini manje ngakambe chonjo ndakalekale tozokumwa pa imbwa apa yokumwa nawe yakutopa manzi yokumwa apa ng'ombe zokumwa nawe utopa manzi yokumwa.
Meanwhile, the minister has tasked the Eastern Water and Sanitation Company and WAMA to fence the water source in the area.
You cannot have a water body like this minus securing it. So water security means this place should not be easily accessible by people, because they can do funny things. Yeah, so I don't want to talk about terrorism and other things, but even illegal human activity, the encroachment, it comes as a result of lack of security. So when you secure a place, put up whether you put a fikopa or whatever you do, but make sure that the place is not easily accessible. We don't want a situation where everyone will find people swimming, they are washing clothes, others are whatever, So this place has to be secured. So Eastern Water and WAMA, that is a directive we're giving to them. Because once the water source is gone in Chipata, there will be no other sources. And like I've always said, God is no longer in the business of creating rivers and dams. Once you destroy what you already have, we are done.
Prudence Chota for Camnet TV News.
Government coffers have been credited with over 118,200 kwacha illegal salaries obtained by former serving ministers who stayed in office illegally after the dissolution of Parliament in 2016. The minister's stay was at the advice of President Edgar Lungu, who said at the time that the Constitution allowed ministers to hold on to their positions until after the elections. but the Constitutional Court ruled that the directive by President Edgar Lungu was unconstitutional, thereby ordering that all those who obtained illegal salaries pay back. On Tuesday, 15th December 2020, former Foreign Affairs Minister Harry Kalaba and his housing and infrastructure counterpart at the time, Ronald Chitotela, have since paid back their illegal salaries to government. Mr. Kalaba has credited the government coffers with 60,434 kwacha 88 ngwe, while Mr. Chitotela has paid back 57,811 kwacha 38 ngwe. Mr. Kalaba, however, says it wasn't necessary for the matter to be taken to court, as government should have just advised how much was supposed to be paid back, as opposed to allowing the matter to drag on for years. Mr. Kalaba says the time wasted could have been channeled toward addressing high poverty levels in the country, as well as addressing the ever-growing divide between those who have and those who do not have.
Barely a week from the time ministers were ordered to pay back the money they obtained during their illegal stay in office after Parliament was dissolved ahead of the 2016 general elections, former Foreign Affairs Minister, now Opposition Democratic Party leader Harry Kalaba has paid back the money in total. According to the order by the Constitutional Court, 64 cabinet and deputy ministers were ordered to pay back the money within a period of 30 days. Harry Kalaba becomes the first former minister to pay publicly an amount slightly over 60,000 kwacha, seconded by Tourism and Arts Minister Ronald Chitotela. Mr. Kalaba says every leader has an obligation to obey the courts of law.
No. It's not even about money, it's about principle. A good name is better than riches. The mistake was made, even though it was not made by myself, but the courts have ruled. It's the same courts that have managed to keep the DP right now in existence. So it's the same courts that have ruled that we should pay back. So where good comes from, even evil comes from. So I have paid because I think I have an inescapable responsibility towards this country, that we need to do good, especially as leaders. We need to walk the talk. So people know that if we undermine our own foundations of democracy, then where are we going? Nowhere then.
Mr. Kalaba is hopeful that the resources being paid will be put to good use and not go back to illegalities being fought now.
Feel lighter because there was no need for us to even have taken this route. I think the very first time in 2017 when the Constitutional Court ruled that we should pay back, we should have paid back without even going to court. There was no need of taking this a protracted route. Honestly speaking, I just hope we should have saved ourselves time and resources instead of doing what we did. We should have just paid at the same time. And I also hope the money that we have paid today, will be put to good use. I hope it will not be used to go back in the same pockets of those who are abusing the resources of this country today. I hope this money will find itself in Chirubi. I hope it will find itself in Kaoma, in Nkema, to help in the health facilities, so that we can ameliorate the challenges of our people.
If all goes well, government should be in possession of over 4 million kwacha by the close of business on the 7th of January 2021. For now, we wait on other former ministers to follow suit. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
It is now close to 2 weeks when the country was treated to some horrific news of the brutal killing of a KABULONGA boy's pupil by his fellow pupils from Twin Palm Secondary School. The incident happened on the 4th of December 2020. Ryan Piri was alleged to have been killed by his fellow pupils with golf sticks and other weapons. Police instituted investigations into the matter, and 4 pupils from Twin Palm Secondary School have since been arrested. The suspects' names have been withheld by police so as not to jeopardize investigations. However, those arrested are aged between 16 and 19 years old and are residents of Lusaka's Mutendere compound, KABULONGA and Twin Palm areas. Zambia Police Service spokesperson Esther Mwata Katongo has confirmed the development, saying one suspect is still on the run as a manhunt for him has been instituted.
Our
Officers in Lusaka have arrested 4 suspects in connection with the murder of a male juvenile, Ryan Piri, and he is believed to have been a pupil of KABULONGA Secondary School. Those arrested are aged between 16 and 19 years and are also believed to be pupils at Twin Palm Secondary School. On 4th December 2020, Ryan Piri, aged 17, is alleged to have been attacked by a group of people who are suspected to be grade 12 pupils from Twin Palm Secondary School, and it is further alleged that golf sticks were used in the act, and the same victim later died in UTH. We have decided to withhold the names of the suspects due to the fact that they are all juveniles, and we wish to state that our investigations in the matter have continued because we are still looking for one more suspect who is currently on the run.
A financial analyst, Mambo Hamawundu, says the rise in inflation rate in the country can be curtailed by addressing the cost of production, which he says is too high. Mr. Hamawundu says reduced load shedding has the potential to ease inflation pressure, which is expected to increase considering that the price of maize has begun to go up on the market. He says the price of millimil is also expected to rise to as much as 200 kwacha for a 25-kilogram bag of breakfast meal, which will force inflation to rise even much further going into 2021. Currently, inflation rate is at 17.4%, and the Bank of Zambia has projected that inflation will continue to go above the target bond of 6 to 8% in 2021.
The aspects covering the cost of production, particularly the supply of electricity or the price of electricity, which weighs in quite significantly when it comes to the price of millimil, is dealt with. That is, ZESCO minimizes on load shedding or reduces on load shedding because of improvement in generation of electricity coming from the Kafue Gorge. It could actually weigh in reducing inflationary pressure, but generally the prices of commodities will go up. The increase in the price of maize having increased for a 50 kg bag from around 110 to now 190, and perhaps the price will even go up further as we go into next year to 200, 210, or even worse, depending on the aspect of supply, which appears to be scanty on the market, will definitely have an impact on the rate of inflation. As you might know and appreciate, the rate of inflation generally defines the general level of increases in prices. So that is a given. Prices will go up. We'll see it through the price of millimil, that is breakfast and roller meal, and we might also see it through the price of
We take our first set of commercials. Do stay with us as we have more interesting stories lined up for you.
And why do you look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
Well, Amwandi, you know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing. Don't tell me.
Yes!
I already know the secrets. Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, downlights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Hello, have you heard about Msika? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, Msika is here. Advertise on Msika between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact
+260 953 995099. +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467.
Msika, allowing your business to grow.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. African Union Commissioner for Social Affairs, Amira El Fadel, says the union is currently in negotiations with manufacturers of the COVID-19 vaccine for possible acquisition for member states that have been heavily impacted by the pandemic. Mrs. El Fadel says the Commission was urgently implementing its vaccine strategy that would result in the acquisition and financing of the COVID-19 vaccine in order to fully control the spread of the virus on the continent. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony and unveiling of the African Center for Disease Control Building Project Phase 1, the Commissioner says while recognizing that the continent has made remarkable progress in the fight against the pandemic, Africa needed to take appropriate measures to secure timely access to the COVID-19 vaccines. And the head of the Chinese mission to the African Union, Ambassador Louis Zhongxi, says China attached great importance to the existing relations with the African Union. He said the construction of the CDC in Ethiopia was a symbol of unwavering support that the Chinese government attached to Africa. This is according to a statement issued by First Secretary for Press and Tourism and the Zambia mission in Ethiopia, Ingutu Mpango Mwanza.
Thank you very much. The VIP guests and other officials will now proceed to the location for the groundbreaking ceremony. Thank you very much.
And moving on in the news, the Court of Appeal has upheld the death penalty slapped on a Chikankata man. The Lusaka High Court found Vernod Nyimba of Chikankata district in Southern Province guilty of murder after killing his father-in-law. Nyimba killed his father-in-law, identified as Child Mwenda, for failing to pay a 2-quarter bottle of beer he had gotten from his tavern. After the verdict by the High Court, Nyimba appealed against his sentence to the Court of Appeal, which has also upheld the verdict by the High Court. In dismissing Nyimba's appeal, the court said it lacked merit. Nyimba is accused of having murdered his father-in-law on the 3rd of November 2020 after picking a quarrel over the 2 kwacha worth of alcohol credit. And still in court news, the state has closed its case against the Sheke Member of Parliament, Romeo Kangombe, who is charged with 4 counts of abduction and assault of police officers. The state called 4 witnesses to secure the conviction of Mr. Kangombe. Mr. Kangombe is alleged to have been to have had abducted two police officers, namely Sergeant Innocent Mwale and Constable Chinyama Chipango of Mununga Police Post on the 14th of October 2020. He is also charged with assault against the two officers. Chinsali's senior resident magistrate Julius Malata has since set the 17th of December 2020 for ruling on whether or not the accused has a case to answer or not over the charges leveled against him. And still in the news, Energy Minister Matthew Nkua says lack of modern energy services in rural areas has been a key obstacle to the country's economic and social development in such places where the majority of people live. Mr. Nkua says it is government's agenda to ensure that all Zambians have ready access to reliable electricity, which he says without it, much of the economy is hindered. The minister says government remains committed to working with national and international partners to deliver the rural electrification master plan, which will untimely see a number of rural areas being electrified. The minister was speaking during the induction of a new Rural Electrification Authority RIA Board of Directors. Meanwhile, newly inducted Board of Directors Rita Mkandawire from the Economic Association of Zambia has ensured government of the board's unwavering support in ensuring that it actualizes its vision of connecting rural Zambia with electricity.
Delivery of sustainable electricity services in rural areas has been recognized to be one of the tools of attaining this goal. In this regard, the revision of the Rural Electrification Act number 20 of 2003 becomes a benchmark for the attainment of economic development. Board members, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, has time and again strongly indicated that he wants all Zambians to have ready access to reliable electricity. Therefore, government remains committed to work with national and international partners to deliver the sustainable electricity services. I have appointed a board that possesses a diverse mix of technical and professional men and women that I'm convinced will steer the rural electrification program to greater heights. This is valuable because RIA can draw on a fuller range of experiences and creativity.
As we all know, statistics regarding access to electricity in rural areas are suddenly very low, which while the resources required are very high. We are therefore mindful that there is nothing more important than the leadership of this board providing effective, innovative and vibrant guidance to the management for the program to attain aspiration of government. We are mindful of myriad and complex sources of issues that confront rural communities because of absence of electricity. It is our pledge therefore that as a board that we shall uphold the belief that these seemingly obstacles can be overcome. We shall persevere, overcome and keep moving forward. Honorable Minister, as we embark on this task you have bestowed us, we want to thank you for your...
We sincerely apologize for the compromised picture quality. Moving on in the news, the Zambia Federation of Disability Organization, SAFOD, has observed that various children with special education needs are disadvantaged during exams set by the Examination Council of Zambia, ECZ. SAFOD Federal Director Justin Vakali says despite giving extra time to learners with special education needs during exams, the scripts are not accompanied by any documentation that clearly states to markers that the papers being marked are from learners with special education needs. SAFOD says the council needs to understand that scripts from learners with special education needs who are usually given extra time also need to guide markers that they are marking a paper of a candidate with a disability. As examination classes write their exams before the end of 2020, SAFOD appeals to line ministries such as the Ministry of General education to ensure that examination candidates with special education needs don't face the same challenges in trying to find their results, such has totally demotivated such people to completely do away with school.
Organizations, therefore, would like to appreciate the efforts that are being done by the Examination Council of Zambia in trying to ensure that learners with special education needs equally participate in the education sector. However, we would want to register our concerns pertaining to children with special education needs when it comes to the marking of their scripts. We have observed that despite observing the policy of giving them a bit of some time when they're writing exams, these transcripts, they are not accompanied by any documentation to help the markers so that when they mark these transcripts, they are able to take into account that the child's scripts or the paper they are marking is for a child with a special education needs. I'll give an example of the deaf persons. When you look at the vocabulary and the language that deaf people use, it is not the same as the ordinary language that we use. So if these markers are not guided, you see a situation where these learners actually might be disadvantaged because they will be marked on an equal basis with others. Therefore, we would want to appeal to Examination Council of Zambia to see how the markers can also be assisted to take care of the children with special education.
And still in the news, United Party for National Development, UPND women, have called for peace amongst the Zambian people. Addressing the media Tuesday, UPND Provincial Information and Publicity Secretary Veronica Shamamba says all well-meaning Zambians should promote the spirit of oneness by championing the One Zambia, One Nation slogan. Ms. Shamamba explains that tribal talks have a way of disuniting people anywhere, hence the need to ensure that they are not tolerated. Meanwhile, Ms. Shamamba has called on women, regardless of their political party affiliations, to champion messages of love everywhere they go.
Enzema kaunda paliula One Zambia, One Nation. Now umona beautiful Zaya, I was met one Ilaman for 37 years. Daja labe mbeji 4, ubashimbi 4 under One Zambia, One Nation. Ndikwete bajikulu bajila. Ndikwete baluba nguba jibe mbome. Matalike enkondo ndairwa na butume. Ndalwano batongo baira. Tendi kwete banangu mvunda kajala nkona koko. Nilute kuchipata nikayamba nikulwangeni na brulu bangu neo. Ni kweli mtu kwa wemba nikayamba ninao. Ekwatila kwa wemba. I raised my elder sister's son when my elder sister died. Abezo mziba. Uye kwatila mwana wakachola uzi na uchifu na ruwamba. Munganda mwa chifu na ruwamba mulibana wasukulu bangu neo muna kodi sakala. How do I fight? Change petition na One Zambia, One Nation.
Matero constituency aspiring independent member of parliament Fabian Mumba says it is possible to have a violence-free election next year. Mr. Mumba says this can be achieved if politicians pledge to put Zambia first beyond their interests. Mr. Mumba has since urged all political parties to utilize the remaining few months to sensitize their members on the need to be engaging in peaceful campaigns. He adds that it is unfortunate that most politicians have continued with the mindset of using young people to cause violence during elections when their own children are not involved in such acts. Mr. Mumba said this to Camnet TV News in an exclusive interview.
For the past few years, the country has continued to witness a growing trend of political violence, something that many Zambians have strongly continued condemning. Many concerned citizens across the country have continued to call for political parties to come together and sensitize their members of the importance of violent-free elections, saying that the time is now to address the issue.
There's a lot that needs to be done if indeed we are to achieve a violent free elections next year. We have a lot of people masquerading as politicians or political leaders who have put their personal ambitions or personal desires beyond the national desires. I think the biggest way out to most of these challenges that we're having as a country, trust me, if these issues are not well taken care of, no matter which government, which party forms government, we'll still continue saying this. The only way out is when these political leaders, when we, the political leaders, put the national interest first. Immediately the national interest supersedes the individual interest, supersedes the political party interest. I think that's the only way out to having a better country.
According to citizens, it is unacceptable that each election should have a record of violence.
The same people who we desire to save are killing each other. I think that must be condemned in totality. Why should you be used as tools of violence when these political players, they have their children safe in safe places? Most of their children are abroad. Even when there's chaos in this country, when war arises in this country, it is you, the poor people, that will suffer the most. They have the money to move their families abroad. They have the money to have their families be secured. But do you have the money? Okay, maybe you take it because you're getting the benefits, the handouts, or the chain that is being given to you. Is that money enough to ensure the security of your family, your beloved ones? So it's possible we can have elections free of violence if all of us, from the government to the individual citizens, play our role.
It is, however, hoped that as the country is heading toward the polls next year, a non-violence election is recorded. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
We take our second set of commercials. Do stay with us as we have international and sports news. Don't go away.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customerservice@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
Take control of your tax planning. Avoid penalties and interest. Returns and payments due by the 10th of the month for declarations of the previous month's transactions are pay as you earn and skills development levy. Returns and payments due by the 14th of the month are turnover tax, withholding tax, mineral royalty tax, tourism levy, gaming and baiting, presumptive tax. Returns and payments for all withholding VAT agents is the 16th of the month. Returns and payments for all VAT registered suppliers is the 18th of the month. Submit the returns and make payments on or before the respective due dates to avoid penalties on the late submission of returns and payments of taxes. Further, note that VAT tax invoices for all business-to-business and business-to-government transactions must bear the tip-in of the buyer without fail. Zambia Revenue Authority. My tax, your tax, our destiny.
Hello, have you you heard about Msika? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, Msika is here. Advertise on Msika between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact
+260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467.
Msika, allowing your business to grow.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. In international news, Malawi's Homeland Security Minister Richard Banda has signed an extradition papers for fugitive pastor Shepherd Bushiri and his wife, Mary, local media report. This follows an extradition request from neighboring South Africa, where the couple is wanted to face charges of money laundering and fraud. The couple has denied any wrongdoing. A high court in Malawi is set to decide on the arrest after they were released and conditionally by a magistrate court that said there was no formal extradition request from South Africa. The court will determine the case on the 22nd of December, according to the Daily Times newspaper. The Bushiris escaped from Malawi last month, defying bail conditions that barred them from leaving the country. Pastor Bushiri at the time said his life was in danger, hence the decision to leave the country. The Malawian and the South African governments had to issue statements on the escape after Malawi's President Lazarus Chakwera, who was on a state visit to South Africa, was accused of aiding the pastor's escape. And still in international news, the federal government of Somalia has cut diplomatic ties with neighboring Kenya. It has recalled all its diplomats from Nairobi and given Kenyan diplomats in Mogadishu 7 days to leave the country. The announcement was made by the Minister of Information, Osman Abuka, on state media. The announcement was made after Somalia submitted a letter of protest against Kenya to Sudanese Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, who is also chair of the Regional Bloc Intergovernmental Authority on Development. It also comes as Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta hosted the President of the self-declared Republic of Somaliland, Muse Bihai. Somaliland declared independence from Somalia in 1991, but it is not officially recognized by the United Nations and the African Union or any other country. Somalia recently accused Kenya of meddling in its internal affairs.
The federal government of Somalia has cut diplomatic ties with Kenya. Somalia says it has recalled all its diplomats from Nairobi and given Kenyan diplomats in Mogadishu 7 days to leave the country. The announcement was made after Somalia submitted a letter of protest against Kenya to Sudanese Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, who is also the chair of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. But in a rejoinder, Kenya government spokesperson Cyrus Oguna said there were ongoing efforts to restore Kenya's relationship with Mogadishu as the neighbors need each other. Somalia recently accused Kenya of meddling in its internal affairs. The latest move by Mogadishu comes just hours after President Uhuru Kenyatta hosted the president of self-declared Republic of Somaliland, Musa Bihi. Somaliland declared independence from Somalia in 1991.
We get into sports news. Times FAR's Super League champions NKANA Football Club has unveiled Kelvin Kaindu as new coach. Kaindu replaces Manfred Chabinga, who was sent on an indefinite leave in the first week of December. The sacking of Chabinga comes after a string of poor results, especially the demolishment of the club that it suffered at the hands of Green Buffaloes when the team was beaten 5-0 at the Coloma Stadium on the 17th of November 2020. Chabinga's forced leave came after 0-0 draw at home against Bantu FC in the Cup Champions League at home. Fans have been demanding for the immediate firing of the technical team. That sports item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. ECZ announces 4 days of voter extension as it registers over 11,300 prisoners. Police arrest 4 pupils of Twin Palm Secondary School for killing a KABULONGA boy's pupil. Over 118,200 illegal salaries paid back to government by 2 former ministers. In international news, Malawi minister approved extradition of Bushiris to South Africa. And in sports news, KK unveiled as new NKANA coach. The Camnet World Verse of the day is coming from the book of Matthew 5:16, and it reads, "In the same way, let your light shine before men, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven." On behalf of the entire news production crew and myself, Liseli Kanyanga, thank you so much for watching Camnet TV News on Camnet TV, not just another channel.